Thanks a lot, Gimba, and welcome to Business News. The Central Bank Governor, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, has assured that Nigeria will get out of recession by the second quarter of this year. While speaking to journalists after a closed-door meeting with the Senate President, Dr. Bukola Saraki, Mr. Emefiele says the country's foreign reserve is at $31 billion, and this will enable the CBN defend the naira.
In the last 2 months, Central Bank has been involved in some form of intensive intervention in the foreign exchange market, and this has fortunately resulted in a downward trend in the parallel market price of foreign exchange from as high as 525 to as low as 370. Right now, it hovers between 370 to 380, and I think it's an opportunity for me to say that we are going to continue this intervention because the reserve looks very good. As I speak to you, our reserve stands at above 31 billion, and that provides us enough of firepower or ammunition to be able to defend the currency, and we will do so with all intensity to ensure that that foreign exchange is procured by everybody. You want to import raw materials, you will get foreign exchange. You want to import plant and equipment, you will get foreign exchange. You want to pay school fees, or you are interested, you are a small business that want to buy foreign exchange for you to import your small items, you will procure foreign exchange. And indeed, we've started to see a downward trend even in prices, and we've also, like you also must have observed, inflation is also trending downwards. We are very much optimistic that by the end of the second quarter, very latest third quarter, we should be out of the recession that we're in right now.
CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele. And talking about Nigeria's local currency, the naira was quoted 18.3% weaker for portfolio investors today compared with the interbank rate, just a day after the Central Bank of Nigeria said it would allow investors to trade the currency at market-determined rates. Data from FMDQ OTC market shows the naira was quoted at 374.25 to the dollar on the central bank's new currency window. The naira was quoted at 305.95 on the interbank market and at 385 on the street market. But back on Monday, that was yesterday, the Apex Bank said it would allow investors trade the naira at rates determined by the market, a move the regulator hopes will increase the amount of foreign exchange available. But analysts are saying this policy has masked pressure on the naira as the central bank tries to avoid devaluing its official rate for the currency. Bankers from across the world are meeting in Lagos, southwest Nigeria, to discuss the future of banking and financial services. The 22nd edition of the event, hosted by the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, looks to help professionals and regulators set a standard for developing financial technology.
We are targeting the use of technology to further the course of banking and finance in this environment. We are targeting investment promotion through the presentation of the Nigerian environment to the global community, the various investment opportunities that are available in Nigeria, the tourist attractions that are in this land, and the hospitality of the people.
Envisioning the future of banking and finance, these takes you into, it's a foray into the future. It was not like this in the past, and it is a lot of issues that are coming up right now in the payment systems, in the settlement systems, and all the rest. Those of us that are involved in the training and education of bankers must go towards reprofessionalizing banking as it is.
And key indicators, the local equities market rose further by more than 0.25% at the close of today's trading. For a summary of the day's transactions, let's join BC Adebayo.
Tuesday's trading on the Nigerian Stock Exchange extended the gains recorded on Monday by 28 basis points, which pushed total value up by 3 billion naira to 8.93 trillion naira. The market's performance was characterized by 24 gainers, led by Ashaka Cement, UAC Property and Fitson Healthcare, while the losers category comprised 12 decliners, led by Champion Breweries, Learn Africa and Livestock Feeds. As investors continue to digest the number of first-quarter earnings this week, appetite for stocks lowered by 84.32 million units against the previous session to 127.43 million shares. FCMB, NEM Insurance and Transcorp were the top 3 most traded stocks for the day. And that's it on the stock market reports. I am BC Adebayo.
Thanks a lot, BC. And for the first time ever, the Nasdaq Composite hit the 6,000 mark today as U.S. equities rose sharply following a solid first-quarter report from several large-cap companies on Wall Street. But let's find out how other major markets closed today. And with those numbers, we end Business News tonight. Thanks for watching. It's back to you, Gimba.
Once more to the efforts to eliminate malaria in Nigeria by the year 2030. And Reckitt Benckiser, the producer of Mortein insecticides, is partnering the federal government through advocacy in personal hygiene and the use of insecticides for the control of mosquitoes. The company's general manager for West Africa at a news conference in Abuja says that advocacy for personal hygiene and the use of insecticides is one sure way of consolidating the gains already made in the malaria elimination efforts of the government.
It is the 2017 Ministerial News Conference to celebrate the World Malaria Day in Abuja with the theme, End Malaria for Good. Nigeria is celebrating a milestone for reducing malaria prevalence rate from 42% 4 years ago to 27%. The representative of the World Health Organization explains the important role played by the use of mosquitoes-treated nets and insecticides in this success.
One critical strategy in preventing malaria has been that of increased use of insecticide-treated nets and indoor spraying with insecticides. This notable achievement has similarly been registered here in Nigeria, as demonstrated by the significant reduction of malaria prevalence.
The occasion also affords other development partners to speak on their contributions. As representatives of Reckitt Benckiser, the producers of Mortein insecticides emphasized the need to maintain personal hygiene and use of insecticides.
We realize that malaria happens for some very basic reasons. Your environment is not clean. We have not taken steps to prevent malaria. We need to kill the life cycle of the insect, right? So you need to do things like larvicide the insect, and finally you need to use a good insecticide. So most of the efforts have to start from very basic, like prevention is better than cure.
It's very important. Of course, it can never stand on its own. So it's about, you need to do the efforts outside the house, but also we all know how many mosquitoes a house can contain, right? So that's where the indoor spraying comes in, and it's a critical thing.
Malaria still accounts for 60% of all outpatient hospital visits and 30% hospital admissions in Nigeria. Hence, experts advocate the use of insecticides and mosquitoes-treated nets.
253 Nigerians who have been stranded in Libya have been lifted back into the country. The returnees, comprising 242 adults and 11 children, arrived in Lagos earlier today aboard a Libyan airline plane. They were received at the Hajj terminal by the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, and are said to be the largest single batch of deportees to return to the country in recent times. Reports say their return to Nigeria was facilitated by the International Organization for Migration, IOM, allowing a request by the federal government for assistance. The NEMA Deputy Director, Search and Rescue, Dr. Abdullahi Onimode, told journalists at the Hajj camp wing of the airport that the deportees will be assisted with some funds to enable them return to their various homes.